You either get it or you don't.
Without further ado, I give you Showgirls!
Am I just gonna watch this movie until I die?
Absolutely no one under the age of 17 is allowed.
I don't think they have an attractive star. They don't do anything original in the screenplay. I didn't care for the film.
Lousy movie. Really lousy acting.
It was a disaster.
It's kind of raunchy.
Very, very bad.
Let me guess, worst movie, Showgirls.
Showgirls, you got it.
Good guess.
Welcome to Vegas.
I just got here.
Okay, yes, it's a failed movie,
Where are you from?
but it adds up to something.
Different places.
A type of comedy I don't think you can make on purpose, which makes it very rare and valuable.
I hadn't seen something so perfectly bad in years. It was done. Civilization had done its job.
Showgirls is also signaling to fans of Paul Verhoeven that it's like his other films.
People are much more inclined to think that it's nearly criminal to portray sex. Sexuality is part of our life, and we should not be afraid of it.
Oh, I used to love Doggy Chow.
I used to love Doggy Chow too.
You can't believe they're trying to sell us this.
You never know what's going to become a cult film.
For those of us that get it, it can become our religion.
This is a role that does not come around that often.
It's weird having that protagonist as a character that's so cathartic.
I'm Nomi Malone.
Nice dress.
Thanks to Versace.
And the worst picture of the decade is Showgirls.
I want to watch this thing over and over and over again.
I think we're still talking about Showgirls because we're not done with it.
The film that gets reclaimed as a stealth masterpiece.
Hello and welcome to this BFI at home event. My name is Cheryl Hole, and tonight I am joined by Jeffrey McHale to talk about the new diva movie film, You Don't Nomi. So Jeffrey, welcome my darling, how are you?
Great, how are you, Cheryl? This is so exciting.
I mean, we're on completely different time zones right now, so I'm ready for the evening, you're ready for the morning, but I'm all good, I'm fabulous, thank you.
Well, you look fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Just a subtle lounge around the house dress.
Yeah.
So, Jeffrey, my darling, what possessed you to make a film about Showgirls? And is the rumor true that you made it from the comfort of your kitchen table?
That is true. I can confirm. You know, Showgirls is a movie that I've always enjoyed. I've been a fan of it ever since I've seen it. I kind of came to it late in life. It was about 10 years after it had come out. And at that point, it had already become a queer cult classic. And, you know, I think I saw Showgirls the way many of us see Showgirls, where someone sits you down and says, a good friend's like, you need to see this right now. We need to watch this. And so that was very much my experience. And ever since that first viewing, you know, I've always been intrigued by it. I've always been drawn to it. It's a movie that I kind of kept coming back to and watching. And yeah, I just thought it would be the perfect kind of topic for my first project.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those like queer cult movies that we all latch onto and we all make our own. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, it's really naff and it's really boring. But I'm like, these are the movies that we absolutely enjoy. Now, Jeff, we are in an age where we can't go see people. We're locked in our houses because obviously Miss Corona. But you interviewed all the people for your movie via Skype. So a bit like how we're doing now. Is it easy for you to do that? Or do you prefer more of a personal approach to interviewing?
Well, this was, you know, this was my first project, documentary like this. It was natural, you know, like it's kind of a style of filmmaking that I guess is very much suited for the time that we're in right now. But I basically reached out to all the contributors. I spoke, you know, this isn't a traditional making of behind the scenes documentary. This kind of analyzes the afterlife of the film. And so I wanted to speak to the people who have shaped that afterlife. And so we had our conversations over Skype. I mailed them an audio kit. And so I talked them through miking themselves up. So, you know, we had good sounding audio, and then we talked about Showgirls for about 90 minutes. And then they shipped the kit back to me. And I did that for about 9 months. I didn't have to shoot a frame of video in making this film.
I mean, it saves you a lot of hard work, really, doesn't it? And I think with the technology that we're living in these days, everybody's now on Amazon buying microphones to get the business done. So, you know,
exactly.
It's one of those things. So there was lots of people that you interviewed. Was there anybody that didn't make the cut in the final edit? And I've got a real good question for you. Was there anybody that you wanted to interview for the original cast and crew?
You know what? It always was in my mind to you know, should I be reaching out to the cast and crew or not? But I always kind of circled back onto the answer of no. You know, like the way I see Showgirls is it's very much our film now. I kind of saw their job as done after the film, you know, came out, and their kind of defenses or explanations around, you know, what the film was has shifted over the years. And so I thought it was more interesting to dive deep into our relationship as an audience and the people who have contributed to the afterlife. Because that's, you know, that's where I think, that's why we're still talking about it, you know, because we haven't really quite figured it out yet. And as far as people who, you know, one of the harder things was finding critics who reviewed it negatively at the time to come on and speak about it negatively today. Like a lot of people who I reached out to who might not have cared for the film just didn't really want to participate in anything about Showgirls. So that was kind of the few roadblocks that I received along the way. But I mean, if people are writing music and writing books of poems, you know, about Showgirls, they're going to be very excited to come on and talk about it. So.
Oh, totally. And my first interaction with Showgirls was actually through Drag Race, when they would make reference to the pearl scene, throwing the pearls on the runway, and all the Showgirls hand movement.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I even referenced it on my own season when me and Sissy Hole were Showgirls stomping down the Essex High Street.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, it was awesome. The arm scissors, I know. It's so iconic.
Exactly. It is iconic, and it's those things that really stick with you and bring you back to a moment when you remember it, but you're still able to reference it and keep it current these days. And I think movies like this do that, and it's timeless, really.
Yeah, it's how we connect to each other, you know. It's how we connect amongst the community.
Exactly. And I loved how Peaches Christ really reclaims things and how she creates these shows. Like she did it with the Trixie and Katya show that she did, Romy and Michelle, and she did a show with Showgirls. It's just it's reclaiming something that people thought was rubbish.
This is ours now.
Exactly. Now, Jeff, I loved your editing style throughout the films. I mean, I loved the scenes from other movies with TVs, and you would edit in scenes from Showgirls. I mean, truly iconic. Now, what really influences your filmmaking style?
You know, well, with this specifically, you know, I wanted to kind of, when I started researching everything Showgirls, I wanted to go back and watch all of Paul Verhoeven's early films because, you know, as an American here, we only know the blockbusters, you know, the sci-fi, shoot 'em ups, Total Recall, RoboCop, Starship Troopers. So I wanted to go back and watch all of his early Dutch films. And when I started to go back and watch them all, I could see all these interesting threads all kind of connect back to Showgirls, like all these strange, weird moments that kind of stood out. It might be a little bit confusing at times, like always had these threads in his early films. And so I wanted a way to kind of blend the two worlds together and make a new subplot so that Paul Verhoeven's early films and those characters were interacting with the contributors in Nomi, and then also, you know, Showgirls itself.
And it's one of those things that people create and they have their vision and they don't realize that they're creating this complete journey through their body of work because they're just doing what they love.
Exactly. Yeah, it was just fascinating. I mean, it was really just seeing all the threads and, you know, the things that were criticized or made fun of in Showgirls all had roots, you know, with his early work. So
amazing. Now we're going to play a quick game and we're going to do a quick fire round. So are you ready, my darling?
I'm ready.
Okay, you said that with some determination. All right. What is your favorite scene from Showgirls?
Oh, I would have to say Doggy Chow, you know, the Spago lunch scene. I think it is just so perfect. As one of David Schmader, my contributor, says, it's the crown jewel of Showgirls. You know, you have Crystal and Nomi across from each other at the lunch, and you know, they're talking about insane things about the way the breasts look in shirts, and then transitioning to doggy chow. You know, it's insane.
You can only imagine what people listening to that conversation were like in that restaurant.
Yeah. What did you just say?
Yeah. What is your favorite line from Showgirls?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think it's actually from that scene where Gina Gershon says, "We take the cash, we cash the checks, we show them what they want to see."
Exactly. Get the money up front before anything.
There we go.
What is your favorite outfit from Showgirls?
Oh, I
Tough
think
one.
I know it's tough. I mean, you know, there's the Versace is iconic, but I love that pink fringe dress that Molly made Nomi when she goes out to the club and just like waving her hands around. You know, I think it fits her beautifully, and it's perfect.
And I think the fashions now show so currently in 2020 because everything's referencing the
Totally.
90s fashion,
Totally.
which I think's great. And finally, what is your favorite dance move from Showgirls?
Oh, I mean, this is tough. I mean, the arm scissors is iconic. The thrust it is good too, you know. But some of the interesting things are the moments that we actually don't see the stage productions of. So there's a few numbers that you see in rehearsals throughout that, you know, have some really interesting moves, you know, when Nomi's first rehearsal or audition, you know, and we never get to see the stage show. So I always wonder, like, what do those look like, you know?
It's one of those shows that I always aspire to be in. I've always wanted to be like a showgirl with all the outfits. And I think that comes across very much in my drag.
Exactly. You would be great, bursting out of a volcano.
I can see it now.
I can see it now.
Oh, well, Jeff, I just want to thank you so much for coming on, having a chit chat about your movie and reliving the glory that is Showgirls.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. This was amazing. It was so nice to meet you.
And it's lovely to meet you too. And hopefully one day I could be over in San Francisco and have a kiki with you.
There we go.
All right, my darling, look after yourself and I'll see you very soon, yeah?
Yes. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you to all of you watching at home. You Don't Nomi is available to rent on the BFI player. And if you've enjoyed this event, please consider donating to the BFI. They are a charity whose venue is currently closed due to COVID-19 and the lockdown. So little helps, and let's keep the future of cinema alive. Thank you, divas, and good night.